Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We're here with the Skaven, going to be led by Queek Headtaker himself, going to be facing up against our nemesis, the Dwarfs, led by Thorgrim Grudgebearer. So yes, very lore-friendly thematic matchup. We've got Queek here up against Thorgrim. This time they'll be fighting it out on the battlefield. Queek's a very good choice against the Dwarfs, of course. Dwarf Gouger being very good here, unsurprisingly. 40% armor-piercing damage on top of Queek's heavy armor-piercing makes him a very, very strong combatant lord, especially against infantry. He, of course, has a bonus versus infantry of 12. And, of course, the Dwarfs are almost exclusively infantry. Definitely going to be very good in this matchup, and you know, unlike a lot of other matchups where he just ends up getting bullied by higher mass units, in this matchup he can definitely get on high value targets and really burst them down very, very quickly, especially if you stack the trophy heads and the dwarf gouger and so on. Very, very good stuff. I've also got two Plague Claw catapults here, going to be doing some nice range damage. We've got a nice hill position behind this hill here as well, so if my opponent had brought like a cannon or, you know, organ gun or other powder unit, they wouldn't be able to directly fire at my artillery because of this kind of berm here. But anyway, in the front line we've got a mix of clan rats with shields. We've also got two plague monks and two death runners mixed in here. The plague monks, while don't seem necessarily like an intuitive pick here, they do have a bonus versus infantry, and I plan on using, let's see, this guy here. I've got a plague priest with wither, which is a minus 30 armor. If you overcast, it's minus 60 armor in a very large area of effect, which is very strong, and it definitely helps plague monks trade very efficiently here. Somewhat. They do have low armor and they're a little bit squishy, but you know, they can trade efficiently if you tear off the enemy's armor. To that effect, we also have death runners who have armor piercing in their own right. They've also got the Weeping Blade, of course, which is minus 50% armor, very, very strong against the dwarves. And the clan rats are mostly there to just catch arrows. We've also got two doom wheels, because you can't face the dwarfs without chariots, and doom wheels are some of the best chariots in the game. They've got heavy armor-piercing anti-infantry. They've got an armor-piercing missile attack as well. They're fast, of course, got heavy armor, and just very strong units. Fear and terror, lots to like about them. And that's going to be it for my build. We can see the Skyhammer already flying around here. It's going to be an interesting pick. I don't think you'll see Howling Warp Gale too much in this matchup, just because gyros, you know, they're a bit of a risk, but I'd definitely bring a gyro bomber or maybe a couple of gyrocopters with the steam guns in this matchup. Could be potentially very strong. For his front line here, he's got miners with longbeards, the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass here in the center, backed up by, looks like Quarrelers. He's got the Grumbling Guard as well, a Runesmith rocking the standard rune loadout with the leadership support rune as well. He's got Thorgrim Grudgebearer with, looks like carrying everything, no items though. And two Slayers in the back, and the Goblobber. So pretty good army composition. A Thane would have been really useful here with the Tormentor Sword, but you know, definitely trying to cut some costs here. But we'll see how it goes for him. Dwarf Warriors and Longbeards will do decently. The Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, of course, Regiment of Renown are very strong. They also have anti-infantry, so they're a good pick here. But so far, you can see the Plague Claw Catapult opening up shots. And first things first, we're going to just run some disruption charges with these Doom Wheels here. And because my opponent didn't bring the Tormentor Sword, he's not going to have a way of locking these guys down. If he had, let's say, a Thane right here with the Tormentor Sword, then he could lock this thing down and then collapse with these Slayers, and they wouldn't kill it super fast, but they would be able to do quite a bit of damage and potentially rout it off, you know, if you could get a couple of uses of it. But you can see this Goblobber's taking an absolute beating. I'm focus firing with both of the units of Plague Claw catapults. Mainline engagements going off here. We've got Death Runners into the miners here. Going to be very, very intense. Lots of runes going off. You can see blasting charges as well. Things are getting real wild here, so let's go ahead and slow it down. Plague Monks in the front line here. Rune of Oath and Steel very well used here to counter Wither. You can see the Wither is the red circle here, so this is the Wither, and the rune is here, so pretty good counter. The Warriors of Dragonfire Pass and the Grumbling Guard both have a net 0 effect from both of those, so this is a good use of the Rune of Wrath and Ruin. In a lot of matchups, I honestly don't think you really need it, because people are just going to bring armor piercing anyway. But if you think your opponent's going to have like an area of effect, you know, armor sundering spell, it's very, very useful to bring that to help counter that spell to, you know, keep your guys fighting at tip-top shape. Unfortunately, on this flank, we've shattered this miner with the Doom Wheel, or not shattered, but terrified it away, and the Plague Monks and Death Runners combined are very, very strong here. They're going to be collapsing onto these Quarrelers and just tearing them to pieces very, very quickly. Meanwhile, Rune of Wrath and Ruin going off here in this front line. You can see the Skyhammer is doing a really good job of bullying my Plague Priest. It's a high-value target, and this guy does a lot of single-target damage with that machine gun, so it's a good pick. Meanwhile, Queek is just going to be getting Thorgrim in his sights here. He's managed to break this unit of Plague Monks in the center, but a little bit exposed here. Thorgrim's going to overchase, so we're going to punish that mistake by coming after him with Queek here. Buffed up his melee defense, going to be popping the other buffs as well, and debuffing Thorgrim with the trophy heads here. Going to be also trying to catch him with the Doom Wheel. The Doom Wheel's fast enough to actually catch Thorgrim. Queek's having a little bit of a hard time here, but Thorgrim at this is going to turn around. We did get the Verminous Valor a little bit late there, but Plague Claw Catapult continuing to fire in at a lot of these blobs here. And honestly, with these low-tier Clan Rat Spears taking some friendly fire, it's not too big of a deal. The Death Runners is a little bit more unfortunate, but getting some really solid hits on the Grumbling Guard there. This Doom Wheel's rampaging around, and we do have one-on-one out here with Thorgrim and Queek. Thorgrim's not too happy about it, so him and his dwarf buddies are just going to push Queek out of the way and walk back towards their Dawi brethren here. A little bit janky, but not too bad. Queek's doing a good job of trying to just catch him. Trophy Heads has really debuffed Thorgrim pretty heavily, only 17 melee defense and 33 attack. But Queek there with the Dwarf Goucher also up to 556 weapon strength. Very, very strong. We have collapsed the center. Well, the Dwarf collapsed the center, rather. We still have a pocket right here fighting and a pocket right here fighting, but a lot of my infantry is really, really struggling. The Plague Monks and the Death Runners is a good idea, but they're both a little bit flimsy, and just with the combined Rune of Wrath and Ruin and these Longbeards having very good melee defense, they're able to just wear them down over time. This one Doom Wheel being routed off, unfortunately, by Slayers. My opponent doing a very good job of keeping on them, and at this point, we've got this one Doom Wheel, which is still very healthy, just trying to clean up some units in the back line. Queek himself is still very healthy, but we really need to get down Thorgrim. We're able to do a lot of damage there, but he was able to get back to his dwarf lines here, now buffing them up. And we've got some regrouped units now. Going to be doing a second push here with some of these Plague Monks and Death Runners, just trying to screen and find a way to get Queek onto Thorgrim here. So these Plague Monks charging in here, going to be fighting up against Longbeards, and oh man, that Plague Monk's definitely not too happy about life. Don't lose your head, guys. Ha ha ha. I'll stop. This other Doom Wheel just trying to disrupt this pocket and really hold it in place here. This other unit of Plague Monks doing a good job just holding in here. Honestly, I could have probably afforded to bring the Plague Monk Summon in this case. I had some extra magic. It is a pretty expensive spell, but you know, two units of Plague Monks for like 200 gold is really great value, and I would have had the extra magic to get it off, but you can see Thorgrim's in here. Queek's in here as well, actually, I believe. Yep, looks like he's fighting in this blob. Thorgrim and Queek here fighting with their brethren, but the Skaven who were in support here are going to be mostly routed off at this point. But the Plague Claw Catapult probably hitting Queek a little bit here, but mostly doing damage to the Dwarf Blob here. But the Verminous Valor is exactly what I need in this situation. It's just about off cooldown right now. Queek's in a really bad situation being circle beaten by all these dwarfs. But as soon as I pop that Verminous Valor, I'm going to be able to pull away here and go after Thorgrim really aggressively. So this other Doom Wheel is holding out here. We're able to kind of collapse on this flank a little bit. The unit of Slayers is barely holding out. We're able to rout off the Longbeards. Finally, there goes the Verminous Valor, springing Queek free, and here he comes in for the killing blow. Let's see if he can take down Thorgrim. Looks like we've got a down Doom Wheel there, but Queek getting in there, doing a little bit of a somersault, and let's see how this duel turns out. Got some Plague Monks fighting in here. The dwarfs desperately trying to support, but Thorgrim does go down, and oh man, frame rate's getting destroyed by all the spell effects there. Queek, though, taking quite a bit of damage, but able to down Thorgrim there in a decisive blow. You can see that swung the balance of power pretty heavily in my favor. At this point, the Runesmith is going after my Plague Priest. The Plague Priest does have armor piercing, but he doesn't have a ton of armor, so it's you know, a bit of give and take in that matchup. But Queek's now coming in for support, and between the two of them, they'll be able to down this Rune Priest fairly easily. Again, the spell effects just completely destroying my frame rate up close. It's pretty intense, guys. The the Doom Wheel here. Very, very good overall. This one was able to survive until the late game. Didn't get bogged down too much by Slayers. You can see the other one did get bogged down and actually destroyed. So it is possible to counter these guys with the Dwarves. And if my opponent had brought the Tormentor Sword on a Thane, he would have been able to counter them a little bit better. His battle may have gone differently. Because ultimately it was very, very close in the end. I mean, I was able to expend all of my ammunition on these Plague Claw Catapults. Both of them racking up 2 chevrons and quite a substantial number of kills. But very well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed that grudge match there. Very thematic matchup of Queek up against Thorgrim, and Queek able to take him down in this battle. So very fun stuff. In terms of the army breakdown, Clan Rats didn't really do a whole lot. Death Runners got some decent kills, but the 2 Plague Monks, you know, not doing a ton. They're able to hang around in the late game as long as you can, you know, bring them back from routing. But, you know, they didn't do too much. Mostly it was the Doom Wheels and the Plague Claw Catapults that really got the work done. 102 kills and 63 kills on these Doom Wheels, chevrons all around, 64 and 75 on the Plague Claw Catapults is what you need. I really, really like these guys in this matchup, especially on a map where you can get an obstructed line of sight so that you're not, you know, worried about organ guns or cannons potentially doing a, you know, counter-artillery play. But Queek himself taking down Thorgrim, the Doom Wheels, and the Catapults were really the name of the game here. For my opponent, the Longbeard's doing very, very well. I like the pick of Longbeards here because even against the elite tier, quote-unquote, Skaven infantry, Longbeards just have good enough melee defense that they can hold out for a really long time. And the Skaven generally don't have a ton of armor. I mean, Storm Vermin with halberds are really not good enough melee combatants to be justified bringing here, in my opinion. They're more of an anti-large unit, although they do have armor piercing. I think Death Runners are a better option. The Longbeards are going to be pretty good in this matchup. The Miners, I would have liked to see blasting charges on these guys, but you know, they did some. They actually just got run over by Doom Wheels. That's what happened on the flanks, but a little bit unfortunate. Blasting charges would have been able to do a little bit of damage on the charge there to my units, but Skyhammer only getting 2 kills. It used up most of its ammunition on that Plague Priest and didn't actually end up killing it, so maybe that wasn't the most efficient use of its ammunition. Not sure if he actually dropped the bombs at any point either, but the Goblobber only getting 21 kills, really getting shut down hard at the beginning by the Plague Claw Catapults. The Slayers were able to rack up quite a few kills, and I do think Slayers are going to be good in this matchup, although they're not necessarily a anti-infantry unit. They're a damage dealer type unit, and they'll cut through light armor pretty efficiently, even against infantry, although they themselves have, you know, 0 armor, so it's a very atrocious trade. But one of them getting 93 kills, 2 chevrons, 81 kills here, only 11 kills on the Grumbling Guard, and 47 on the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass. It's decent, but not quite what you want. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this battle. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.